Cleveland Browns former QBs to be featured on a Netflix series. It says the Browns had one of the interesting seasons of quarterback play in 2025. The team cycled from veteran Joe Flacco as the starter for the first 4 games to a pair of overmatched, not ready for primetime rookies in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, with the result being a 5-win season that was in every way imaginable as bad as it looked. Okay. Along the way, fans were left wondering what was going on behind the scenes, with such questions as why was Flacco fever not sweeping the town again? What future does Gabriel have in the league? Why exactly did people ever think Shedeur Sanders was more than a 5th-round talent? As luck would have it, some of those answers may be coming this summer when season 3 of the Netflix series Quarterback debuts on July 14th, with Joe Flacco being one of the 4 quarterbacks featured, along with Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward, and Baker Mayfield. Okay, so this is going to take fans behind the scenes into the Cleveland Browns facilities and all of that good stuff. And
Kevin Stefanski lied to Shedeur Sanders' face in front of cameras, in front of the entire NFL. And now Netflix is about to expose every single second of it. But before we get into that, we need to talk about what this documentary actually reveals about how Cleveland truly operates. Because there's a bombshell hiding inside Joe Flacco's storyline that changes the entire Shedeur Sanders narrative. And the Browns' 2025 schedule? It might be the universe's way of forcing this franchise to finally face accountability. We're getting into all of it. Right now, let's set the scene. The 2025 Cleveland Browns season was a disaster, and not even a dramatic, entertaining disaster. A quiet, suffocating, 5-win disaster. They cycled through quarterbacks like they were trying flavors at an ice cream shop. Joe Flacco started. Dillon Gabriel got thrown in. And then Shedeur Sanders, the most hyped, most doubted, most disrespected draft pick of his class, got a shot. And what happened? Nothing. A train wreck. A coaching failure dressed up as a talent evaluation. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. The competition was never real. During training camp, there was supposed to be an open quarterback battle. That's what Stefanski told the media. That's what the Browns sold to their fan base. But insiders were leaking the truth from day one. It was staged. Choreographed. A front office performance designed to protect one decision while pretending to evaluate another. And Shedeur Sanders walked right into the middle of it. Think about that. You're a rookie quarterback. First-round talent. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You've been battling narratives about your last name your entire life, proving people wrong every single step of the way. You put up historic numbers at Colorado. You showed out at every pre-draft evaluation. You did everything right. And now you finally get your shot in the NFL, only to discover the competition you've been preparing for was never actually a competition. That's not a failure of talent. That's a failure of leadership. And here's the part that should make every NFL fan furious. This wasn't a secret inside that building. People knew. Staff knew. Veterans knew. The only person who wasn't supposed to know was Shedeur himself. They let him compete full throttle in a race where the finish line had already been moved. And it gets worse. Because Stefanski didn't just rig the evaluation process. He publicly benched Sanders, shipped him out, and moved on, all while keeping a straight face in front of reporters. The man burned a rookie's confidence on the altar of his own job security, and then had the nerve to stand at a podium and talk about evaluating the roster, like he hadn't just torched a young man's first NFL chapter for personal survival. Now Netflix is coming with the receipts. Season 3 of the Netflix series Quarterback drops July 14th. Joe Flacco is one of the featured quarterbacks, and if you know anything about how these documentaries work, you already know what that means. The cameras were rolling all season, in the facility, in the meeting rooms, on the sidelines. Every awkward conversation, every suspicious coaching decision, every moment Kevin Stefanski tried to manage the story, all of it is on tape. And sources confirm that Shedeur Sanders is going to be a significant part of this season's narrative. Let that sink in for a second. Shedeur didn't just survive one of the most dysfunctional quarterback situations in recent NFL history. He's about to have his story told on the most-watched sports documentary platform in the world, alongside Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward, and Baker Mayfield. That's not a consolation prize. That's a platform. And think about the contrast this documentary is going to create. Jaden Daniels, the guy who actually got the support system, the offensive infrastructure, the coaching staff built around his strengths. He's going to be in this series as a success story. Baker Mayfield, the guy Cleveland famously discarded, is going to be in this series as a redemption story. And Shedeur Sanders is going to be in this series as what exactly? The cautionary tale? The victim? Or the guy who got betrayed by a franchise and still had the character to hold it together? That framing matters enormously, because the way Netflix tells Shedeur's story this summer could completely reshape how the entire league views his future value. Every front office evaluator, every coordinator looking for a quarterback, every fan who wrote him off, they're all going to watch this. And what's that documentary going to show? It's going to show a young quarterback who was set up to fail and still competed. It's going to show the chaos behind closed doors that the Browns refuse to acknowledge publicly. And most importantly, it's going to force every NFL fan to ask the same question. Was Shedeur Sanders ever actually given a fair shot? The answer, based on everything we already know, is no. And now millions of Netflix viewers are going to see exactly why. Let's talk about what really happened in Cleveland, because the mainstream narrative has been fundamentally dishonest about this situation. The media loves the easy storyline. Shedeur Sanders isn't an NFL-caliber quarterback. His daddy got him drafted too high. The Browns made the mistake. That's clean. That's simple. That's also lazy. When your head coach is in survival mode, the last thing he's thinking about is your long-term development. He's thinking about his next press conference, his next win, his next contract extension. You don't evaluate a quarterback by throwing him into a five-alarm fire and then blaming him when he can't put out with a garden hose. This is the same franchise that wasted Baker Mayfield. The same franchise that handed Deshaun Watson a $250 million guaranteed contract and watched it collapse in slow motion. Cleveland has a long and well-documented history of acquiring quarterbacks and then systematically destroying their confidence, their reputation, or both. Draft picks, free agents, veterans, it doesn't matter. The Browns find a way. Shedeur Sanders is just the latest casualty, except this one has a Netflix camera crew documenting every single moment of it. Now, there's another layer to this story that people aren't connecting. The Browns' 2025 schedule conversation, and specifically the primetime game situation, is more relevant to Shedeur's future than most realize. Cleveland went 0 primetime games last season. 0. A full year of total invisibility, while the rest of the league's storylines dominated the national conversation. That scheduling blackout buried whatever positive moments Shedeur might have had. It denied the public a chance to form their own opinion of him, unfiltered by hot take media and recycled narratives. That changes this year. Whether it's the Baker Mayfield return game, a divisional showdown with the Ravens or Bengals, or the Kevin Stefanski revenge angle, Cleveland is getting primetime games. And if Shedeur is their quarterback when those cameras are rolling, the entire country is watching. That's pressure, but it's also the biggest opportunity of his career. Here's the other piece. Schedule difficulty matters more than most casual fans admit. Teams with brutal travel schedules, constant flex games, and Thursday night kickoffs were down in ways that disproportionately hurt young quarterbacks still developing their routine. A more manageable schedule early in a signal caller's career doesn't just produce wins, it produces confidence, rhythm, and the kind of consistent film that lets a player's actual ability speak for itself. Cleveland owes Shedeur that runway. Whether they actually give it to him is the real question hanging over this entire franchise right now. That's not a coaching tree. That's a coaching forest. Pocket passers, mobile quarterbacks, developmental projects, established stars. He has worked with all of them and found ways to manufacture production. Here's my prediction. When quarterback season 3 drops on July 14th, public perception of Shedeur Sanders shifts. Hard. Not because of anything new being discovered, but because millions of people will finally see what actually happened inside that building. The stage competition, the political benching, a coaching staff that chose self-preservation over honest player development. And when that narrative flips, and it absolutely will flip, the pressure on Cleveland's front office becomes unlike anything this franchise has faced in years. This documentary doesn't just tell Shedeur's story. It puts Kevin Stefanski on trial. And the verdict gets delivered to 40 million Netflix subscribers. Drop a comment right now and tell me, after the documentary drops this summer, does Shedeur Sanders get a real second chance in Cleveland? Or does this become his farewell highlight reel from a franchise that never deserved him? Subscribe if you want to follow this all the way through training camp, the schedule release, and the July 14th drop. This story is just getting started. This is Gridiron Insights. We'll see you in the next one.